Listen, I need to tell you something that's been eating at me for 3 years now. You ever look at your life and realize you're living in a house built on lies? Not the kind of lies people tell at parties. The deep ones, the structural ones, the kind that crack foundations. My name's Marcus Reeves, and I thought I knew my wife. I met Rachel at a community college ceramics class. Yeah, I know. Marcus Reeves, the guy who drives a Lexus now, who wears Tom Ford suits. I was taking pottery at Riverside Community College. I was 24, working construction during the day, trying to figure out what the hell to do with my life at night. My hands were always cut up, permanently stained with wood varnish and conguffed dust. Rachel sat across from me at the pottery wheel. She had this way of biting her lower lip when she concentrated, clay spinning between her delicate fingers. She was an art major, painting specifically, the kind of girl who wore vintage band t-shirts and could talk for hours about the emotional weight of color theory. I was building houses. She was creating art. Somehow we made sense. Your bowl is lopsided, she said the first time we spoke. She was smiling, not mean about it. Your vase looks like a medical diagram, I shot back. She laughed. That laugh. It sounded like wind chimes and forgiveness. We got married 9 months later. Small ceremony, Rachel's mom crying, my dad shaking his head like I was making the biggest mistake of my life. Rachel wore a vintage dress she'd found at a thrift store for 40 bucks. I wore the only suit I owned, the one I'd bought for job interviews that never materialized. For our honeymoon, we drove to the coast, stayed in a motel that smelled like old carpet and optimism. We didn't care. We had each other. We had dreams that felt real in the dark. I'm going to build us a house, I told her, waves crashing outside our window. Not just any house, your dream house, every detail exactly how you want it. I just want you, she whispered back. Everything else is extra. I believed her. 10 years. That's how long it took me to build Reeves Construction from a pickup truck and a toolbox into something real. I worked 70-hour weeks, missed birthdays, missed anniversaries, but every penny went into the same place, the lot on Riverside Drive where I was building our forever. Rachel would visit the construction site, bringing sandwiches and sweet tea. She'd walk through the framed rooms, touching the studs like they were already walls. This is where we'll have Christmas morning, she'd say. This is where our kids will learn to walk. Our kids. We'd been trying for 5 years at that point. Specialists. Treatments. Every month, Rachel would lock herself in the bathroom, and I'd hear the quiet sound of grief through the door. But we kept trying, kept hoping. The house grew around our hope. I installed heated floors because Rachel's feet were always cold, built a sunroom facing east because she loved morning light, custom shelving in every room for the books she collected at estate sales, a studio with north-facing windows for her painting, the dream she'd put on hold to work at the library, to help pay for the treatments, to support my business while it found its legs. Every nail I drove was a promise. Every board I cut was an apology for the time I couldn't give her. The house became my language for love. Marcus, it's beautiful, she said the day I showed her the finished master bathroom. Clawfoot tub, vintage fixtures, tile work that took me 3 weeks because I redid it 4 times to get it perfect. But you're killing yourself, I see you. You're running on fumes. Almost done, I said, pulling her close. 6 more months, then I'm all yours, I promise. She felt thin in my arms, too thin. When did that happen? I'm holding you to that, she whispered against my chest. The house was finished on a Tuesday in October, moving day. I carried Rachel across the threshold like a scene from a movie neither of us was old enough to reference. She laughed, her arms around my neck, and for a moment everything was perfect. We made it, I said. We made it, she echoed. That first week was magic. We christened every room, drank wine on the back porch I'd built with my own hands, fell asleep to the sound of silence. No traffic, no neighbors, just us and the house I'd built as a monument to her. But something was off. Small things at first. Rachel's phone was always face down. She'd shower as soon as I got home like she was washing something away. She started working late shifts at the library. Evening programs, community events, things that didn't exist before. You want me to come pick you up? I'd offer. It's late. No, I'm fine. Melissa will drive me. Melissa, her coworker, the friend I'd met exactly once at a library fundraiser 2 years prior. I ignored the red flags because I was tired, bone deep tired from a decade of building. I'd pour myself into bed at 9 p.m. while Rachel stayed up, her phone glowing in the darkness, her fingers typing messages she'd delete before I could see. "Who are you texting?" I asked one night, my voice thick with sleep. "Just Melissa, planning the winter reading program." I believed her because the alternative was unthinkable. January brought ice and revelation. I came home early, rare for me, but a job got canceled due to weather. The house was supposed to be empty. Rachel had said she was working the afternoon shift, but her car was in the driveway. I walked in through the side door, the one that led to the mudroom I'd designed with heated tile because Wisconsin winters were brutal. I could hear voices, laughter, coming from upstairs. My feet moved on autopilot. Up the stairs, I'd built with anti-slip treads because I'd worried about Rachel falling. Down the hall with the wainscoting I'd installed by hand, each piece measured and cut with obsessive precision. The bedroom door was open. Not wide, just ajar. Enough. Rachel was standing by the window, the bay window with the custom cushioned seat where she'd said she'd read books to our children someday. She was wearing a dress I'd never seen. Her hair was done, makeup perfect, and she wasn't alone. Julian Foster. I knew him. High school art teacher. Rachel had mentioned him a few times. He'd asked her to help with a mural project at the school. Community outreach. Nothing to worry about. He was holding her hands. Standing too close. And Rachel was looking at him the way she used to look at me before I became a man who built houses and forgot to build moments. "This is wrong," Rachel was saying, but she wasn't pulling away. "Is it?" Julian's voice was soft, artist voice, the kind that discussed feelings instead of building them. "You can't tell me you're happy, Rachel. I see it in your paintings. All those dark colors, those empty rooms. Marcus loves me. Marcus loves the idea of you, the version he built in his head. But does he see you? Really see you? I should have stormed in, should have raged, should have done something. But I stood there, frozen, watching my wife's face as she processed words that were landing like hammer blows. "I should tell him," Rachel whispered. "Tell him what? That you're suffocating? That this house feels like a beautiful prison? You think that won't destroy him?" Rachel pulled her hands away. "I need time. Take all the time you need. I'm not going anywhere." Julian left through the front door minutes later. I waited until his car pulled away before I quietly walked back outside, got in my truck, and drove aimlessly for 3 hours. When I came home at my usual time, Rachel was in the kitchen making dinner like nothing had happened. Spaghetti, my favorite. "Hey, baby," she said, kissing my cheek. She smelled like guilt disguised as lavender soap. "How was your day?" "Same old," I lied. "Yours?" "Quiet. I took a personal day, just needed to rest." We ate dinner in the dining room I'd built, made small talk, cleaned dishes together, went to bed, and I said nothing. I became a ghost in my own house. Rachel thought I was just busy with work, but the truth was darker. I was watching, waiting, learning. I installed subtle security cameras. Not everywhere. I wasn't a monster. Just the entry points. The driveway. I told myself it was for safety. Told myself I was being paranoid. The footage told a different story. Julian came by 3 times that first week. Always in the afternoon when I was supposedly at job sites. They'd sit in my sunroom, drinking tea I'd bought, talking for hours. Sometimes Rachel would paint while he watched. Sometimes they'd just sit in silence, a comfortable intimacy that felt more invasive than any physical act. I dove into Rachel's digital life. Felt disgusting doing it, but couldn't stop. Logged into our shared cloud account, the one we'd set up years ago for backing up photos. The password still Forever 2010 from our wedding year. Her text messages synced automatically. I started reading. "Your husband built you a cage made of wood and good intentions. That's not fair. Marcus is a good man. Good isn't the same as right. You're an artist, Rachel. You need passion, spontaneity, not a meticulously planned life in a house that feels like a museum to someone else's dreams. I chose this life. You chose survival. There's a difference." I read 3 months of messages, watched Rachel slowly talk herself into betrayal, one text at a time. They hadn't slept together yet. Small comfort, but they were building toward it. Emotional affair was the technical term. Felt like a knife in the ribs, regardless of terminology. The messages got bolder. "Leave him. Come to Seattle with me. I got the artist residency, 3 months, fully funded. Bring your paints and nothing else. Rachel, I can't just abandon Marcus after everything he's built for us. He built it for himself, a trophy house for a trophy wife. You're suffocating, Rachel. I can see it. Let me help you breathe. Rachel, I need time to think. Take a week. But Rachel, life is happening now, not in some future where Marcus finally slows down. Now. I had choices: confront her, fight for my marriage, scream, cry, beg, all the things men do when their worlds implode. Instead, I made a different choice. I went to my office, the one in the converted garage where I kept all my business records. I pulled out the deed to the house. Read it carefully. Both our names were on it, joint tenancy. Legal term meaning if one dies, the other gets everything automatically. No probate, no mess. But there was something else in the filing cabinet: the prenup. Rachel had insisted we didn't need one, but my lawyer had been insistent after Reeves' construction started taking off. Protect yourself, Marcus. Not because you don't trust her, because you're smart. The prenup was ironclad. Any assets I brought into the marriage, plus any business I built during the marriage, stayed mine in case of divorce. The house, technically built by Reeves Construction as a spec property that I then moved us into, fell into a gray area my lawyer had navigated carefully. In a divorce, Rachel would get half the market value, about $380,000 after my investment was calculated. But what if there was no divorce? I'm not proud of what I thought next. I'm telling you this because you need to understand how betrayal rewrites your brain chemistry, how it turns good men into chess players. I didn't want Rachel dead. Let me be clear. But I wanted her to understand what she was walking away from, wanted her to feel the weight of her choice. So I made a plan. Rachel, we need to talk, I said on a Sunday morning, March 15th. I remember the date because it felt historical. She looked up from her coffee, fear flickering across her face. About what? About us, about this. I gestured around the kitchen. I've been working myself to death for 10 years. For what? So we can exist in the same house like roommates? Relief washed over her features. She thought I was talking about counseling, about trying harder. Marcus, I want a divorce. The words landed like I detonated explosives. Rachel's coffee mug hit the table. What? I'm done, I said, voice steady. I'd practiced this. I love you, God. I love you so much it's killing me. But I can't be married to a ghost. You're here, but you're not present, haven't been for months. Tears started streaming down her face, real ones. Marcus, please, we can fix this. Can we? Because I've been trying. I finished the house. I've been cutting back on work hours. I'm here every night for dinner. But you're somewhere else, someone else. She flinched. What does that mean? This was the moment. I could have confronted her about Julian, could have played my security footage ace. Instead, I played it different. It means I release you, I said softly. Whatever you're looking for, whoever you think you need to be, I won't be the anchor anymore. You're free. Rachel was sobbing now, reaching across the table. I don't want to be free. I want you. I want us. Do you? I pushed a folder across the table. I had my lawyer draw up papers. Uncontested divorce. You keep the house, Rachel. All of it. The prenup says I could fight for it, but I won't. This house was always meant to be yours. She opened the folder with shaking hands. Read the settlement agreement. You're giving me everything. Not everything. I'm keeping the business, my truck, my tools. But yeah, the house is yours. $750,000 property, paid off, no mortgage. It's my gift to you. My final one. I don't understand. She was crying harder now. Why would you do this? I stood up, walked around the table, kissed the top of her head. Because I love you enough to let you go. Because maybe you're right. Maybe I did build a cage. So here's the key. I moved out that week. Stayed in an extended stay hotel while I looked for an apartment. Rachel called 73 times. I counted. Left voicemails that progressed from angry to desperate to broken. Marcus, please. I made a mistake. Julian is nothing. He was just someone who listened, but it didn't mean anything. Please come home. I didn't call back. My lawyer called instead. Mr. Reeves, your wife wants to contest the settlement. She's saying you pressured her into signing under emotional duress. Tell her to keep the house, I said. No contest. I mean it. Are you sure? Because I'm sure. The divorce was finalized in 60 days. Quick, clean. Rachel got the house. I got my freedom and my business. And then I waited. Rachel moved Julian in 2 weeks after the divorce finalized. I heard about it from a former neighbor who still called to check on me. Thought you should know, Marcus. The art teacher's car is there every night. Thanks for telling me, I said, feeling nothing. The nothing was important. I'd grieved, raged, broken down in my hotel room at 3 a.m., but by the time Julian moved his easels into my sunroom, I'd moved past anger into something colder: patience. See, here's what Rachel didn't understand about the house I'd built. It wasn't just beautiful, it was expensive. Property taxes in our county, $18,000 annually. Utilities for a 4,000 square foot house, $600 monthly. Homeowners insurance with the custom features, $4,500 yearly. Maintenance on high-end appliances and systems, $3,000 annually minimum. Rachel made $42,000 a year at the library. After taxes, about $32,000 take home. The house alone would consume $35,400 of that. And I knew, because I'd built the damn thing, that the HVAC system would need servicing every 6 months, that the custom windows required special cleaning, that the hardwood needed refinishing every 3 years, that the roof, while top of the line, had a warranty I'd never transferred to her name. Julian was a high school art teacher. Public school salary, maybe $48,000 before taxes. Together, they were bringing in about $65,000 take home. The house would eat $40,000 of that before they bought groceries. I gave it 6 months. Month 3 called. I answered because my therapist said I needed to show I'd moved on. Marcus. Her voice was small. The AC died. The repair guy said it needs a full replacement. $20,000. That's rough, I said neutrally. Home warranty? You said you'd transferred it. I said I'd look into it. Must have slipped through during the divorce chaos. Sorry. Silence. Then, can you help? Maybe Reeves Construction could do it at cost? Rachel, we're divorced. You chose your life. I chose mine. Call around. Get competitive quotes. She hung up without saying goodbye. Month 5, the property tax bill came due. Rachel didn't call this time, but my former neighbor did. Marcus, there's a lien notice on the house. Tax lien. Thought you'd want to know in case there are any loose ends. There weren't. The house was entirely Rachel's problem now. Month 7, I drove by. Just once, just to see. The yard I'd landscaped with native plants was overgrown. The flower beds I'd built were full of weeds. The custom front door, $3,000 of quarter sawn oak with art glass inserts, had a crack in one panel. The gutters were overflowing. The house was dying of neglect. My masterpiece was becoming a money pit. I ran into Rachel at the hardware store. Cosmic joke or divine intervention, depending on your religion. I was buying supplies for my new place, a modest 2-bedroom condo that cost me $1,200 monthly and brought me more peace than the mansion ever did. She was in the plumbing aisle, looking lost and holding a pipe wrench like it was a foreign artifact. Marcus, she breathed. Rachel. She looked rough. Hair unwashed, thrown in a messy bun. Clothes that used to fit hanging loose. Dark circles under eyes that used to sparkle. Kitchen sink is leaking, she said, gesturing uselessly with the wrench. Julian tried to fix it, made it worse. Plumber wants $400 to come out. YouTube is free, I said, not unkindly. Plenty of tutorials. I don't know how to do this stuff. You always handled it. Then I guess you learn, or you pay someone. Those are the options. Her eyes filled with tears. I can't afford this house, Marcus. The repairs are endless. Every month something else breaks. The water heater, the refrigerator, now the sink. The property taxes nearly bankrupted me. Julian's moving out. He says the stress is too much, that I'm too much. I'm sorry to hear that, I said. And I was. Not happy sorry, just sorry. She looked like a different person, hollowed out. Can we talk? Please? Just coffee? Rachel, I made a mistake, the biggest mistake of my life. Julian wasn't what I thought. He wanted the idea of rescuing the sad artist wife. But real life, bills and broken pipes and middle-of-the-night emergencies, he ran. I chose wrong, Marcus. I chose so wrong. I looked at this woman I'd built a palace for, the woman I'd have moved mountains for, and felt nothing but pity. I can't fix this for you, I said gently. The house, us, any of it. You wanted freedom. You got it. Now you have to figure out what to do with it. I want to sell it, come back to something simple, something we can afford together. We can start over. Rachel, stop. I put down the light fixtures I'd been holding. Said, I'm seeing someone. Her name's Claire. She's a project manager at a rival construction firm. We argue about building codes and laugh about contractor humor. It's easy. It's fun. I'm happy. The words hit her like I'd slapped her. You moved on. I did, after you did. Difference is, I'm not looking back. I left her standing there in the plumbing aisle, holding a wrench she didn't know how to use in a house she couldn't afford, with a life she'd built on infatuation instead of foundation. The house went up for sale 3 months later. I saw the listing online. My realtor friend sent it to me with a message. Dude, what happened here? The photos told the story. Water stains on the ceiling from the HVAC leak that was never fixed. Cracked tile in the bathroom. The custom kitchen cabinets had a door hanging off its hinges. The hardwood floors, the ones I'd hand-selected and installed over 2 painstaking months, were scratched and dull. Listed at $695,000. 30 days later, dropped to $649,000. 60 days later, $599,000. It finally sold for $545,000. After realtor fees and the tax lien, Rachel probably walked away with $480,000. Not nothing. But not the $750,000 property I'd given her. She'd burned through $200,000 of equity in less than 2 years. I'm telling you this story from my condo. It's 1,200 square feet, 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, generic builder-grade finishes. The faucet leaks sometimes. The dishwasher is loud. There's a water stain on the ceiling from the neighbor's overflow last month, and I've never been happier. Claire is in the kitchen making breakfast. She's wearing my old construction company t-shirt and singing off-key to whatever's on the radio. We're talking about maybe buying a small house next year. Nothing fancy, nothing custom, just something that feels like home without requiring a second mortgage to maintain. My business is thriving. Turns out when you're not pouring every penny and every hour into building a monument to someone who doesn't appreciate it, you have energy for things that matter. I coach Little League now, got a dog, a mutt named Hammer who chews my work boots and makes me laugh. I see Rachel occasionally. Small town, big enough to avoid each other, but small enough that paths cross. She's back in an apartment, dating someone new, working on her art again. She looks lighter somehow. Not happy, exactly, but less burdened. We nod when we pass. No words necessary. People ask me if I regret giving her the house, if I'm angry about what she did, about Julian, about wasting 10 years building something that crumbled in 2. Here's the truth. I gave Rachel the house because I knew something she didn't. A house isn't a home just because it's beautiful. It's not a solution to problems. It's not a bandage for a failing relationship. A house is wood and stone and systems that break. It requires constant maintenance, constant investment, constant care. Just like a marriage. Rachel wanted passion. She wanted spontaneity. She wanted to feel alive. What she got was $18,000 in annual property taxes and a leaking water heater. I didn't punish her. Life did. Reality did. The same reality I'd been living, that love is work, that commitment is choice, that exciting isn't the same as lasting. The house I built was perfect, but perfection is expensive. In money, in time, in energy. Rachel couldn't afford it, not just financially, emotionally. She wanted easy love, Instagram love, movie love. I gave her real love. The kind that shows up at 2 a.m. when the basement floods. The kind that remembers your coffee order and builds you a drafting table. The kind that's boring and reliable and always there until it isn't. Thanks for watching.